like back in those days, you could walk in a savings and loan, borrow money on your signature, and go borrow the money and buy whatever you wanted to buy. So we set out to build an infrastructure of practices that could exist in a space to operate on a corporate level as far as your size and buying power, but not have to be corporately owned. So you could run your practice exactly how you saw fit. And just because you're a great salesman doesn't mean you're a great manager of people. Mm-hmm. You need to put people that have skills in positions to maximize their skills. And you may have a salesman that makes more than their manager does because they're just really good at it. And everybody's got to be okay with that.
Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. Today we're kind of sticking with the same topic and talking to a professional that went to school for a long time, got the letters behind his name, Charlie Buchanan, and he's not only a vet, but he's also built a business out of it and also diversified into some other ventures too. But how's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've been.
By the way, I only have 3 initials behind my name. I got DVM and a high school diploma. I didn't actually get a bachelor's. I got into vet school before I finished that part. I didn't have enough credits to get the bachelor's. They give you for free in vet school. So I'm like tied for the least qualified vet.
I bet nobody cares.
No one's ever asked.
Yeah. We've been coming up there to Morgan Mill for probably 20 years. I was in high school or probably younger. We started coming up there and still do. So
yeah, cool.
You built a cool business up there.
Yeah, we've been there a minute.
Mm-hmm. And I know you were on Charlie Crawford's podcast, and y'all talked a lot about. That was very informative about rodeo and hauling your horses and horse health and stuff like that. But today I want to get more into how you really built your business and stuff. But we always start out with your background, how you where you came from, how you got started, and all of it.
Man, how far back do you want to go?
As far back as you want to.
So as long as I can remember, there was nothing I ever wanted to be besides an equine vet. So my dad's an equine vet, T-Bone Buchanan, started practicing in Navasota. And he got into it because his plan was to go back and run the farm when he graduated from A&M. Well, he was about 2 years in. My grandfather sold the farm and retired, moved to town. So he had no other options. He's like, oh, hell, I just tried the vet thing. So he ended up going to vet school, graduated. And then when he got out, man, he worked small animal clinic in Dallas for a little bit, and then he moved back home and just ran cows. And at one point in the mid-'70s, right before the significant crash in recession, he had a ton of land, South Texas, ton of land in Grimes and Brazos County, a bunch of mama cows, a bunch of steers, and woke up one day and was broke. Yeah, because cattle market went to shit. And can we cuss on this?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't want to get beeped out or anything. All it was leverage. Like back in those days, you could walk in a savings and loan, borrow money on your signature, and go borrow the money and buy whatever you wanted to buy. Mm-hmm. So he had to bust his butt to make the money back. Sold everything, sold all the land. Like if it hadn't happened, probably no one would know who I am because I'd be living on some big ranch in South Texas feeding deer all day.
Yeah.
Right? But it didn't work out. So he moved back to Dallas for a year when I was in kindergarten, worked back at that mixed animal practice. And then about the time he decided he couldn't live in Dallas anymore with a family, I think we had 4 kids at the time. He had 4 kids. My middle brother was just born.
Was that just a job up there, or did he own that clinic?
No, it was just a job. Yeah, just a job. Yeah. So he said, screw it, moving back to Navasota, we'll figure out how to make it work. And the guy named Jim Perkins built a thoroughbred breeding farm there and called him and offered him a job. And that's how he got to do the equine vet stuff. Started as a breeding vet. And they bred the most thoroughbred mares than anywhere in the country 2 years in a row. So they did a lot of work, and then he got into sports medicine, and then went from there. Probably in the early 80s, 83, 84, something like that, he started his own business, Brazos Valley Equine Hospital, and then 88 built a freestanding facility on our own land that's still in Navasota, still operates.
What did that look like? Like a sports medicine? Like, was there a lot of performance horses down in that country, or was that
probably the coolest thing about all of that is, and I could barely remember it because I was little, like 12, 13, 14 years old. But there's 5 of us kids. So my older brother and I went with Dad on the weekends in the summertime, and we basically had free reign of the breeding farms. We went everywhere, tore a bunch of shit up. But I got to see really the development of sports medicine in equine, because he was one of the pioneers, right? And there was no sports medicine industry in the 80s, right? It was just starting out. Like, they didn't inject joints. There was no ultrasounds. They could take x-rays, but they weren't very good. And they just kind of figured all this stuff out. And I can remember him taking horses to A&M and scrubbing in with the surgeons at A&M, just trying to sort out what's wrong with the horse and how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so he was one of the guys that figured out how to do all that stuff. So then
it was just turn them out and see if they get better.
Yeah. So, I mean, I worked there, and then there was nothing ever that I wanted to do besides that. Worked there all through high school and all through college. And then, man, like when I was in high school and vet school, there was 5 guys in the country that could fix your lame horse, and he was one of them. They'd come from all over the country. I mean, it was pretty cool to see it. And a lot of stuff that we take for granted today that we do all day, every day is routine stuff. He's one of the guys that sorted it out.
And that was what I was going to ask you. You said they came from all over. Like, what? I was going to ask, like, what kind of clientele you were getting down there? If it was rodeo people, or if, that's not really cutting horse country, or like who was coming in? Back
then in the 80s, it was cutting horse country. There's a lot of stuff around Brenham. And then rodeo horses.
Okay.
So, but there's, race horses, running quarter horses, thoroughbreds, both. And there's a bunch of Arabians. Pretty much, no one got turned away.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, when I was in high school, there's no appointments. They just showed up. They started showing up at 8:00, and they kept showing up until about 5:00. And you just worked until you got them all looked at. And if someone might have called it, the answer was always yes, come in.
Yeah.
Right. And probably one of the things he did better than anybody else was he answered the phone. Like, if someone called and needed to ask a question, he'd walk inside, pick up the phone. All the other vets, and it's probably worse now than it was back then, right? But one of the things he did is, like, he showed up, right? You just got to be present and be available. And I know it drove my mom crazy, but everybody had the home phone number. There's no cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the home phone rang all the time, weekends and at nights, and they'd call and ask questions, and he'd answer the phone, pick it up, and talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you seeing that, you were like, that didn't bother you at all? Like, sometimes
I just thought it was normal. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know there was any other way to be. That's just how life was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've talked to some people, and they're like, I saw my dad do this, and he was on the phone all the time, and I didn't want to do that or whatever. So
I think both of my girls, both my kids, like, saw that, and they're like, nah, that's not for me. Like, I want to go a different path. But they're both pretty driven.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they understand that there's other things in life than working. Like, then the reality of business is that sacrifices have to be made to have a successful business, right? Someone's got to put in the time. You just got to be available. Like, the easiest thing about it, which is also seems to be the most difficult, it's not hard, but it's difficult, is just being available, right? Mm-hmm. Because people don't want to be available. And the way that the performance horse industry works now, my phone rings 24/7, and you better answer it, because if you don't answer it, someone else will.
Yeah.
So I think my kids are smart enough to see that there's a different way to go have a successful career and successful life, and not have to be available for your business 24/7.
Yeah, that's something that's like one of the, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship and owning your own deal, but like, that's one of the things that's nice about having a regular job is at 5 or whenever, you get to walk away and not think about it anymore. Whereas, I'm sure you were the same way. And like, I'm the same, like, I'm on all the time. I'm not always having to talk to people, but I'm always thinking of how to make it better or easier or something.
And not everybody's made like that, right? It's just, and it's okay. Like, one of the things that we talk about with my staff and the veterinarians that work for me is like, how do you gauge success, right? And the way I gauge success is growth of the business, helping people, right? It is, it's not for everybody. Some people, being successful is having a great family life or having a great life. I'm married way above my station in life. And I married an amazing woman, and I have 2 amazing kids that are better than me in every way. And I didn't miss anything that was important, but I missed a lot of time. Like, there's times I was not home every night to put my kids in bed, right? And some of that's regretful, but it also is important to build a life that we have, right? Just it's a balance, I guess. Work-life balance is what everybody talks about. I'm not sure that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're happy with what you do, that work and life don't compete.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, that is a huge thing a lot of people talk about. It's the balance. It seems like, I mean, it's just more of a season instead of balance of like, there'll be seasons where you're nothing but work and very little home life or relaxing life or whatever. And then then you get to take off sometimes and do more home stuff. And then you got to go back and work on your business and also a lot of people, I listen to a lot of, high level people, business people, and they love work so much. I mean, they wouldn't be happy if they weren't working. So
I definitely have, there's definitely something wrong with me. There's no doubt about that. Right. So like, I don't leisure very well. I think anybody that knows me knows that that's true. Right. When we go on vacation, we'll go on vacation with some family and some friends and as kids and wives. And then they're all sitting around hanging out, relaxing, and I'm cooking, right? Like, oh, Charlie, come on, sit down. Why don't you take a break? Like, I don't like taking a break. Like, I mean, our options are, I'm going to cook and prep and go to the store, or we're going to drink, and I'm going to be really drunk by 3 o'clock, and that's not good for anybody. Like, that's not, like I did that in college. I don't need to do that when I'm.
You got to be doing something though.
Yeah, it's just not, I don't sit down very well. Yeah.
So you said that's all you ever wanted to do. So what was college life like? You graduated and went to college, and I mean, were you just focused the whole time? And
yeah, I mean, that's all I ever was, right? So got out of high school, went straight to A&M, 4 years there, undergrad. Probably the first 2 semesters, the first year, I was a little distracted. I lived across the street from the Dixie Chicken, so that had affected my grades. So at the end of my sophomore year, I was at a solid 2.999, right? And to get in vet school, you got to have a 3.5 or above. So then I spent the next 2 years taking introduction to beef cattle science, and introduction to equine science, and introduction to poultry science, and a bunch of animal science classes that I could make A's in, along with the prerequisites. But I didn't really focus on getting a degree, which is why I don't have a degree. I didn't take all the political sciences. I didn't finish all my PEs. I just needed to get a grade point average good enough to get into vet school.
Yeah, how does that work? That you could just start applying at some point, and you just had to have certain qualifications to get in. DX Trailer Sales is based out of Lubbock, Texas, and it's definitely not just a trailer dealership. If you are involved in the Western way of life, and if you're listening to this show, you probably are, they have something you need. From trailers for a day working cowboy to a full-time cattle hauler to hay trailers for a farmer or rancher to arena drags, rope and chutes, and feeders for the rodeo cowboy or cowgirl. They also deal in every kind of hay any of your animals could ever need. Literally anything you need for farming, ranching, or rodeoing, they have something for you. And it's gonna be at a super affordable price. Besides all that, everyone you deal with there is super friendly and helpful. We just got new custom flatbeds built for our pickups, and I also got probably the coolest trailer you've ever seen built. And you can stay tuned for a video we're gonna do, and it's gonna show all of that and some more of their products also. So check out DX Trailer Sales on Facebook or dxtrailers.com.
There's core classes that you have to have completed to get into vet school. And as long as you make good enough grades on those and they like the rest of your stuff, they'll let you in. So like my little brother got in after 3 years. He's also way smarter than me. Also applied himself for his first year in college a lot better than I did, right? But yeah, he got in. He took all the rest of his stuff too. So he's got multiple degrees, finished a residency, boarded in 2 different things. So the initials that I don't have, he took them all. And he did a really good job of doing that. But yeah, once I finished vet school, there was a conversation with Root and Riddle in Kentucky. I went up there for an externship, and my plan was to do an internship there and then do a surgery residency at UC Davis. Went and did a month at Root and Riddle as an extern vet student. And man, they treated their interns like crap. Like they were basically indentured servants. I think they paid them about $15,000 a year back then, not including a place to live, right? And they were on call probably 12 out of 14 days. You had to be within 10 minutes of the vet clinic at all times, right? So then I went to Davis for a surgery rotation and got exposed to academic life. And it was probably the most dysfunctional place I'd ever been in my life. So I got done with vet school, and I was like, man, I just don't think that's for me. And one of my dad's associate vets had quit, so I just went to work. So the surgeries that I do, I taught myself how to do them. Basically did a lot of surgeries for free to get the skill set that I needed to do the things I wanted to do. And over 10 years, built my practice from all of the crap work that you do as a young veterinarian into probably 90% sports medicine. So when I got out of vet school, went to work, and then we had an opportunity to put a practice in Rockdale, Texas. So we had a partner, Marty Tanner, actually worked. There was a training track in Rockdale for racehorses. So he worked over there, thoroughbreds. Did that for a while, and that ended up becoming the practice, Navasota Equine Hospital in Salado. And then I was driving back and forth to Weatherford, Oklahoma, Bowie, right, pretty much anywhere I could go, so I could do lamenesses. And the horses from that area in Navasota started moving up to Weatherford, and it became the epicenter for the cutting industry. So I was coming up there. It started out every couple of weeks. I'd spend a couple of days up there. To probably the last 4 years I did that. I would wake up every Tuesday and Thursday. We'd leave my house about 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd start in Oklahoma usually. So we start there about 6:30, 7 o'clock and work our way back down to Navasota, get home about midnight. It was a lot tougher than I am now back then. All right. So then that turned into 2 days a week and an opportunity to buy Dr. Russell's practice in Morgan Mill. So we bought that, and we moved my wife and kids to Morgan Mill, Texas. So then at that point, we had 3 practices as a group: Navasota Equine Hospital, Navasota, Salado, and Morgan Mill.
Was there I guess was your dad a big part of doing that? Did he want to expand like that, or was it like, were you driving that a little bit?
I think it was more me and my brother. I think he never envisioned it. I don't think he never did argue with it. Like he wasn't opposed to it, but it never really crossed his mind to build a group practice like that. And really what the goal my brother and I set out to do, that really ended up, we didn't do it very well. So we ended up having to unwind it. But the goal was to build the corporate business, right? So early 2000s, mid 2000s, 2010 probably, the small animal side of veterinary medicine started to be aggregated and accumulated into corporate businesses, big corporate practices. They come and buy these small animal practices, and they would tell them how to run their business, right? PetSmart, basically, right? Those guys, Banfield, have practices inside those, and they give you a book on how to practice veterinary medicine. This is how we do it. So it's cookie cutter, and we wanted to try to avoid that for the equine space. And I think it's bad, honestly, for veterinary medicine as a whole. So we set out to build an infrastructure of practices that could exist in a space to operate on a corporate level as far as your size and buying power, but not have to be corporately owned. So you could run your practice exactly how you saw fit. We didn't set it up in a way that was sustainable for us. So we tried to brand it as one big practice. And then we had to argue about how to brand it, right? And we didn't all agree on how to brand it because the agreement was we're going to run our practices like we wanted to run them. So that created tension that eventually we just ended up arguing about stupid things, small things that didn't really matter in the big scheme. But it made it to where that we just couldn't sustain the business as a partnership. So we broke it up. So Signature Equine now became its own entity in Morgan Mill. And then we also started the stallion station at that point. So we took that with us.
Okay. And the other 2 are still Brazos Valley, Salado, and Navasota.
Yep.
And so you have Signature now, and it's like you kind of mentioned, it's a group practice, I guess you call it. You have a lot of vets, a lot of employees there. How is that for you? I mean, because you're not just focusing on fixing horses anymore. You're focusing on keeping everybody in line without a big struggle.
The a couple things that we did. So when I got to Morgan Mill, there was no breeding industry for the performance horses there, right? And there's a lot of horses. There's a lot more horses now than there was when we got here 18 years ago. I noticed that there was a lack of it. So I didn't mind doing breeding work very much back then. So I started doing a lot of breeding work, right? So then early mornings I would do the breeding work, and then after about 10 o'clock, I'd have availability to do sports medicine, right? So it was just me and Dr. Russell at that time. And then that rolled into Jeremy Barwick one day, who was a client, a trainer, had a bunch of horses in training, could also understand that, hey, it's not at that point a really good way to make a living training horses, right? There's not very many guys that got comfortable, not even wealthy, just even comfortable, right, in retirement training horses. Like they're all crippled, old, broke down trainers trying to make a living still.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't want to do that for myself. He's like, hey, what if we put it in a little stud barn down here? Sounds great. So he built a structure at what is now Valley Equine. And we had the first year some pitifully terrible studs. And then through the next year, we probably bred 50 mares, I would guess, 60 mares, maybe 100 the first year. The second year we got through our relationship with Pete Branch, Kit Kat Sugar. He was Horse of the Year that year, so we got to stand him, which gave us some credibility. And then we just grew it from there. And it went from one barn with 4 stud stalls and 10 mare stalls to, I don't know, a couple hundred.
Yeah, how many studs do y'all have there
48,
now?
49. It's pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. Like the way that thing grew is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we made a point to make it be customer service driven, right? If you wanted to know about your mare, someone called you back today and probably answered your question as soon as you called, right? And that is something that doesn't exist in the reproductive space at all. Like if you want to know about your mare, tough shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get back to you tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know. Maybe she's bred, we'll let you know. And you can come pick her up, right? So I think that helped. And then the incentive program that Jeremy figured out how to do for those studs is, man, it changed the game, honestly, not only in our business, but in the breeding space, right? Because it put so much money into the cutting. Right? We put over $1 million every year in added money to cuttings in the cow horse space. And that just made it to where all the other industries had to come along too, right? So now the barrel races start adding money, the roping for charity start adding money, and now there's enough money and prize money out there to make it worth it to enter, right? And breed mares and have babies. And then if the money's good enough, then there's more horses in the space. There's more trainers in the space. The good trainers can charge more, right? And now guys are making a living riding horses for a living, right? And it works out good for everybody because it's more business for us.
Yeah.
But it's also good for the horse industry as a whole because now you can actually make a living riding horses every day rather than scratching out a living. I think Clint Anderson said it, broke, wore out in the middle of New Mexico living in a single wide, right? Those guys don't have to exist anymore. They can make a living. There's guys that would have been assistant trainers for their careers that can have 30 horses in training and make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I've had some actual just like straight horse trainers on here, and it's that's always my curiosity. Like how do you make it? And nowadays, like you said, it's gotten to be a little bit better deal. I think starting out, everybody's just scared to charge too much.
5 years ago, the average guy was charging $800 to ride a cutting horse of mine, and now they're at $1,500. That's the bottom, right? Which it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I have a huge amount of respect for people who make the living horseback.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do it, right? But man, they're such good people, right? And I have such an enormous amount of admiration for them. So trying to make it as good as we can on them as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I have a mix on here of people that they're either, have had success in just straight ranching or the horse industry or whatever it is. But the majority is, we, myself including, and really enjoy the ranching or the horses or whatever, but go find another way to actually make some money and make it all work.
Yeah. like if you want to be a horse trainer, you better have a wife that had a really good job.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a problem anymore. Like Cody Porterfield, I was listening to his podcast last week when we kind of set this up, and like it's cool that he has like can make a living riding horses, doing what he likes to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so speaking of that, I mean, how did your on just the practice side, you've evolved? Like you said, it was just two of y'all starting out. And how many vets do y'all have now?
If you count the breeding farm altogether, it's 13. And then we got 3 interns, so 16 total. How
did that evolve to, like I said, like you turned it into actual business instead of just you working on horses all the time?
I think initially it was by accident. And then once I saw what I accidentally did, we made it intentional, right? So what I did, there was a Ricky Osterloh is one of our partners, and he worked for me in Navasota when I was down there. He went back home to Wharton, mixed animal practice, and he and I would talk every couple months, 2 or 3 months about cases and stuff. And one day he's like, "Man, I think I need to make a move. Like, I think I want to work on horses full time. I don't want to live in Wharton anymore." So I tried to find him a job at a repro deal for a little bit, just to stash him somewhere until I could get enough confidence to hire him. That didn't work out very good. It wasn't a very good situation, a little bit sketchy. And he ended up coming to work at the clinic, right? And it dawned on me at that point that he's so much different than I am. He's a little more introspective. The way he works on horses is a little bit different. He's still introverted like I am. But once I realized that my clients that tolerated me really liked him, right? Then I figured out like I need to bring other people in that aren't like us, right? So because my concern was how do I produce enough money to pay him? And it ended up not being a problem, right? Because when you bring him in, and I think we did a really good job setting our culture at the very beginning. He came in and started producing enough revenue to pay his way in month 3. And it didn't affect mine at all. It's like, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like, because there's enough business out there, I think, that we didn't necessarily turn it away, but someone would call to bring a horse in, and they couldn't get in a timely fashion. There's enough competition, they just go somewhere else. So then those people just came in because now you have capacity for them. And when you hire the right people, which some of them were accidental and some of them we're pretty sure they were good when we hired them, they just generate their own, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't take someone like Ricky or Stroh very long to figure out how to grow their business. And Stroh, I'm sure you know him. Yes. So he is actually as far opposite of me as is humanly possible. The only thing we have in common, we both have ADD. And that he's an extrovert. He never stops talking. He doesn't pay attention to anything, right? But people like him, right? And it's a totally different client that likes him than me. And he and I have been friends since vet school. Like, we got to be friends first year vet students, and we always kind of kept in touch. And he had a significant family tragedy when his first child was born. And I would call him after that. I called him once a week for about 3 months just to check on him, make sure he's okay. Then we got to be closer, and then somewhere around 2009, 2010, he says, "Man, this economy up here in Ohio sucks." It's like, "Yeah, you should come to Texas." He says, "Maybe I will." So bought him a plane ticket. He came down, hung out for a few days. And then he went back home, talked to Candy, his wife. And then Mac Rust, who was our business manager at the time, and I flew up there with a contract and got him signed up. And he moved to Texas. And man, it's been that probably is life-changing as much as anything else I've done for my business, because he's such a force of nature in the world that he just drives business here. And then ever since he got here, we've grown 20% every year in our revenue, which is pretty hard to sustain, because once you get big, to grow 20% again, it's a significant amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're running into a lot bigger numbers there, and just new problems, I guess.
Yes. some problems, like there's been two pivotal times in our growth that we lost the culture just a little bit, and it had to kind of rein everything back in because it is a mind shift. It's a shift in how you run your business to go from 3 veterinarians to 5 and then 5 to 10. Because when you have 3, I can almost be everywhere all the time, right? And I can manage the inventory, I can manage the people, I can manage the flow of information, right? And then when you get to 5, you can't anymore. You can't be everywhere all the time. So then you have to trust your people to do what they need to do. You can't micromanage anymore. So you got to turn it loose a little bit. Then once you get to 10, like it's just a completely different beast, right? Because even at 5 or 7 vets, you have 20, 25 employees. I still have intimate conversations with them weekly, right? They're with me at least a similar time that I can affect the culture of the business and keep driving the train they want it to go. Once you get to 30, 40, 50 employees, and you can't, right? There's people that work there that I don't see them for 2-3 weeks at a time, right? So then the infrastructure to make your culture right is a totally different animal. Like it's just so much different to when you get to be a mid-sized business, even not even a big business, just a mid-sized business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you to like let some of that control go?
I think not really. If you put the right people in place and you trust them, it's not really that hard. Mm-hmm. At least it wasn't for me. Like I look around at other practices and friends of mine, and their practices don't grow like ours does. I think that's why, because they micromanage it so much they can't turn it loose. Mm-hmm. And you can't get that next level unless you have someone else out there that supports what your mission is well and doing it. If you have to do it all yourself, you can't do it.
Yeah. That's what it seems like a lot of people struggle with that, with like letting it go. They think they do their deal the best and they're the only ones that can do it. Well, then like you said, you only get so much capacity that you can handle, and then you're just can't grow anymore. You're going to have to change. And that's what a lot of people I've studied and stuff, they say like, you got to go out and find the right people that are going to.
I think probably one of the biggest skills that I have is that I understand myself pretty good and my limitations. And I understood really early on, and it was probably growing up the family that I grew up in with extremely high achievers and like super smart people. I was never the smartest person in the room at any time in my life. It didn't matter, high school, college, it didn't matter, right? So then I learned how to surround myself with people that were better and smarter than me, and then just let them do their thing. Mm-hmm. Just get out of their way, and you got to trust them. And if you can't trust them, if they prove to you that you can't trust them, then you have to step in and help. And sometimes you can counsel them and get them through it. Sometimes they're just not right for your business.
Yeah. Did you seek out mentorship on that stuff, on hiring and firing and stuff, or did you just kind of?
Man, that's probably honestly the worst part of my job. And I had to do it all myself at the very beginning. And now we have HR consultant, Christy McCoy, that helps us, and she does most of that now. But yeah, like you just having the uncomfortable conversations it's not something that's in my skill set very well. Mm-hmm. And it's easier the more you have them, but man, they still suck. Like one of the things I honestly struggling with right now is that when we had a smaller business, there were people that struggled personally, that you could bring them along with the business, right? You could protect them and keep them in the business and help them grow and overcome their issues. And once you get to a certain size, and because I don't interact with them all the time as much as I did, it's hard to help them. And then you have to make a decision whether what's the best for them isn't always inside the business, even though you want them there. And you have an obligation to the other 60 people that work there mm-hmm. to make sure the business is healthy. And sometimes they're just not with your business anymore and you can't help them.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing for me because I'm, by nature, pretty empathetic, and I like helping people. That's what we do all day, every day. And it's a struggle to not have them around to be able to help them.
Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. Ordering custom merch is way harder than it should be. You get some random sales rep who thinks ag is short for aggressive. They slap your logo on a boxy tee no one wants or the same cap that your competitor has, and then hit you with surprise charges for artwork, setup, and who knows what else. That's why I've been working with Brand Cowboy. They actually live in the ag, western, and outdoor world. No artwork fees, no setup fees, and they know what looks good because they're part of the culture. They're not faking it from an embroidery shop in the big city or screen printing shirts in their brother-in-law's garage. We're even building Wealthy Cowboy Show merch with them right now, and it's been awesome. They made it easy, fast, and actually fun. And if you want more than logos on blanks, they've got full cut and sew capabilities built from scratch, custom fabrics just for your brand. Private labeling inside and out. Head to brandcowboy.com and book a call. Mention Crockett and get a free 30-minute consultation on how you can build merchandise that your customers will actually want to wear, and at such a high quality you could offer it for sale no matter what industry you're in. Brand Cowboy. Made for you, made for your brand. What about your schedule now? Are you you kind of just see certain clients, or are you available at certain times, or how does that work since you've grown so much?
Yeah. So right now, it's really hard for me to do because it sounds so arrogant to say. I can remember there's a veterinarian who was really busy when I was just coming up, and I was like, I can't believe that guy. He says he's not taking any new clients. Like, what an asshole! Like, what an arrogant asshole, right? But I just can't. Like, there's not time in the day for me to see new clients. So unless you know someone who's one of my clients and you get a referral from them, I just can't, right? My schedule's full, and I need to feed my other veterinarians anyway and help them grow their business. So yeah, my schedule is set. I'm in the clinic Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, and Tuesdays and Thursdays all day. Usually do my surgeries on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you can get an appointment, great. And if you know my cell phone number, which pretty much everybody in the country does, you can text me. I'll probably squeeze you in. But if I don't know you, you're not getting an appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always, anytime we need something, we just call, and like, it's one of those deals, like you said, it's just, this is the time that I can come up there, and, cause it's about a little over an hour for us anyway. And like, we just need this done, and whoever can see us, can see us.
Yeah. I make it to where I will see a client every 30 minutes. And I can manage the workflow and the communication like that, so that the office can make me an appointment every hour. So if I need to see someone, I can squeeze them in the middle. But it's pretty much every day. I'll have a client every 30 minutes. Are you
still like the CEO of the business, or do y'all have?
Yeah. So we're doing a little restructuring right now too. So we're going to have, I have Shane Newsom, who has been with us for a long time, runs our pharmacy and inventory management. He's stepping into the COO role. So he'll run the day-to-day operations of the business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, how you juggle all those different titles. I mean, when you're starting out, I guess you're everything, but you keep advancing to where you're not just a vet anymore. You got to look at the whole picture. Yeah.
The hard part is that we've added integrated businesses, right? Which take up time also, because we've never funded a business that we started. They're all bootstraps, and we start with nothing and build it up. And the good thing is that most of the time we'll put people that are in our business in the other business to run it. So I know who they are and they know our culture. And so everything translates really well. And then once they're established and they're ready to go, you just turn loose, let them go. And so far we've been very, very successful just letting them run the business.
And hiring the new vets that y'all have, does each one have a specialty, or do you kind of just?
They have some intentionality about what they want to be. But if you're brand new, especially like the last ones we've hired them straight from our internships. They're not outside. They pretty much have to do whatever they can do until they can have the opportunity to build the practice that they want. And the good thing for them, and what I really enjoy, is that, like Eric Moore is one of our young associates, and he probably does 80% lameness now. And he got to that point so much faster than I did in my career, that it's pretty cool to see, to give him an opportunity to be what he wants to be and he's 35 years old instead of 45 years old when I was.
Do you see, like, what's the majority of the practice? Is it the horses coming in? Is it lameness? Or is it?
Yeah, we're probably 60, 70% lameness. The hospital side of our business is growing pretty quickly, faster than any other part, mostly because no one else in the area sees emergencies. So we're the emergency clinic for Comanche, Dublin. Peak Performance will see some emergencies at theirs in Granbury, De Leon, Eastland, Stephenville, all those mixed down practices and small equine practices. They just turn the phones off at night, and they put on their answer machine to call us. So that part of the business stays pretty busy too. But the vast majority is sports medicine.
What have you seen in your career advance? Like you kind of saw the start, I guess, of that whole industry. And now y'all have a lot more tools and stuff like that. And I'm sure the horses have changed and the industries have changed. Like, what have you seen through the years that's been different?
Oh, I think the technology, the imaging technology for sure, that the ability to look inside the horse and see things, MRIs and CTs and even ultrasounds and x-rays. Like, God, man, it wasn't that long ago. I was driving around with a stack of x-ray cassettes in the back seat of my truck. I would keep probably 50 or 60 cassettes. And if we did a pre-purchase or took some x-rays, I might be in Bowie, Texas, and get back to the clinic next morning. I got 60 x-rays to process, right? So you process them and you look at them. And then the worst part is when one of them come out, like he's like, shit, what do I got? You got to drive back to Bowie and take it again, right? And the digital x-ray like totally changed that. That workflow is so much better. And just the image quality is just so much better. It's insane.
Are you able to fix more horses? Like, has that changed any?
That's a good question. I would say, yeah. I think the understanding from people that are much smarter than me about biomechanics and the way the horse works is significantly better. And the technology to repair fractures and deep flexor tendons and suspensory ligament injuries that we couldn't fix before. Or didn't understand how to fix them before. Yeah, I say for sure. And even the medicine technology and the drugs that we have available that you can convert from human medicine and the techniques you can translate is better. Yeah. So colic surgeries and those sorts of things is so much better than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And y'all started the pharmacy. Was that how did all that start?
Yeah. So it's part of the corporate business, right? So part of that initiative inside of us was that we're going to buy the vendors that we do business with, right? So why wouldn't we just pay ourselves to do business with ourselves? So there was a opportunity to buy a compounding pharmacy. And in equine medicine, compounded drugs is a pretty significant part of the medications that we use because there's drugs that aren't available for horses, that you need to put them in a formulation for horses. So we bought that. I can't remember how long ago that was, probably 2014. And what we bought it for, if we didn't have any other clients but ourselves, it would be a break-even proposition for us. And it's been stupidly successful as well.
So y'all are compounding and send them to other vet clinics also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're licensed in 30-something states now.
Okay. So you're all over the country then.
Yeah. Stroh is a very good proponent for the compounding pharmacy because he's never met a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of traveling too, doesn't he now?
He does, yeah.
I was thinking that he went up there to Porterfields or something one time when I was talking to him.
I mean, he's pretty much 90% ambulatory. So he'll run around Weatherford area. And he gets out to Arizona sometimes and South Dakota sometimes. And
you mentioned that about traveling still. Like, are you going, when you're going out there, are you going to shows or like?
No, we'll go to I haven't been to a show out of state in a long time. We'll go work the Cuttings in Fort Worth. But we'll go to, like, when they go to Alabama, we'll go to Austin Shepherd's, maybe Joel Colgrove's. We'll go to Baton Rouge, we'll go to 1027 Ranch. So a particular person. Okay.
And like when y'all go to those places, is it just a lot of lameness type stuff?
Yeah, pretty much only that. Yeah.
And What about injections? I know that's kind of like I don't know, probably a lot of misinformation or whatever on that. I know I used to be turned off on it, and now we inject horses all the time. So
how much time do we have?
Plenty. I want to know all.
So the traditional injections, right? Corticosteroids and maybe hyaluronic acid. If you have depending on the joint, right? And early in the inflammatory process, it is a very appropriate treatment and it's beneficial to the horse. If you use it too much or too frequently, then it can be detrimental to the cartilage. And then there's a whole laundry list of other products that are good. Regenerative medicines, PRP, IRAP, Alpha-2, A2M, Nultrex, Arthrimid. Like, there are better products that are significantly more expensive. And probably the bulk of the injections we do are going to be steroids with hyaluronic acid in them. And for a normal horse that just has some inflammation in the joint from what they do for a living, it's very appropriate and fixes the problem.
Yeah, that's that was like, I guess, probably the thing that I heard the most, like starting out, and was like, once you started injecting, like you were going to have to keep doing it. But I've also asked a lot, because I mean, we'll have to go, like a 4 or 5 year old horse, but I mean, they're getting used a lot and stopping hard and stuff like that. So, everybody's always said like that, one side of it is you're stuck to it. And then the other side's like, well, you need to do it, and it's not doing anything bad.
It's definitely not true that once you inject them, you have to keep injecting them. That is not true. If they keep being a team roping horse, you have to keep injecting them, right? Because what they do for a living puts pressure on joints. If you get in the philosophy of horses, right, we do that for a minute, right? I think those horses that are really good at it, they love what they do. And I think they're bred to do that, right? Mm-hmm. We have selected them to be head horses, rope horses, barrel horses, cutting horses, whatever, right? You'll never convince me that they don't like what they do. But God didn't make them to stop and turn around like that. God made them to eat grass and run away, right? So when you start making them do those things, it puts pressure on the joints. It creates inflammation. It's just like a high-end athlete in an NFL player, right? Mm-hmm. Their knees get sore, their ankles get sore, whatever, right? If you can alleviate that inflammation, and in veterinary medicine, especially sports medicine, we're much better than the human side, because what we do in the human side is you just suck it up and live with it. Maybe go to rehab until you get arthritis, and then it's too late. And if they would use judicious corticosteroids in a knee that has some inflammation in it before it gets arthritis in it, people would be much better off, right? We're injecting corticosteroids in people 20 years too late. Mm-hmm. So you're treating a high-end athlete, basically it's a 5-year-old rope horse that's the equivalent of a 20-year-old human athlete, and preventing the disease from progressing, basically.
How have you seen horses evolve? Do you think they've gotten more prone to injury, or you just think they just perform at a higher level now, so they need more help? Or
I think they perform at a higher level, and that there's a lot more pressure to be successful and to win, and their ability to do it is so much better. Right? If you watch videos of rope horses and cutting horses from the 80s and 90s, they're a fraction of the athletic ability that they are now. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty amazing what they can do, honestly. But when you do that, you create tension, and you create injuries. At the same time, small things make a huge difference. So you should be, if you're a competitive Western performance horse person, let's say team roping, right? 0.2 of a second is the difference between making the short go and not making the short go, right? And having sore hocks and not scoring, right, because they're like that, is all the difference, right? So if you don't inject those horses' hocks, you're not going to win, right? So then you do a lot more of that, because everybody's doing the same thing and they're all winning, and you got to be competitive. You got to be at the top of your game. So your horse has to feel 100% as well.
Yeah, I've seen that personally. I know the big thing, like if you talk to barrel racer, like they're they know every little. They're trying to do every little thing.
They might go a little over the top.
Yeah, but even just like roping or roping calves on them or something or anything like that. I mean, it's like every once in a while I'm like, this horse is not stopping the same like it as it used to, and it's bring them in and it'll be soaring its SIs or hocks or whatever whatever it is.
Yeah. I think that we've, as a veterinary community, have gotten better about diagnosing them and treating them early. And then also the person riding them understands much better that their horse is not working as well. And instead of it being a training problem, it could be a physical problem.
Right. Where do you see Signature growing? Are you going to open any more practices or expand any more? Or?
Man, my staff calls it world domination. So I don't think we're slowing down. We're always looking for opportunities. Like the corporate business is not going away. So when we unwound everything, we started another group. It's called Horizon Veterinary Partners. And that is 10 practices that all agreed to commit some of our net revenue every quarter into a pool to invest back into the veterinary space. So it may be another integrated business. It might be a lab. You never know what we're going to put money into. But the ultimate goal is to help smaller practices that need some capitalization buy part of their business for a certain amount of money. Like 2-man practice in Southeast Alabama wants to build a facility. We'll go buy 25% of their company. They got money to go build the facility. We participate in the growth. And if they want to buy it back, they can buy it back in the same method that we bought it for. And if it grows, then we're going to make money on it, and they're going to make money on it. It's a win-win for everybody. And really, that's the goal, is to really keep the veterinary space from being corporately owned, because I think it's a terrible idea. And if you ask anyone, not everyone, almost anyone, especially the equine vets who sold their businesses to corporate entities, it didn't go well, right? It's just the equine veterinary space is such a relationship business versus dental practices or small animal practices, right? It's a personal thing between you and the client, and you build relationships you couldn't build in any other industry. And honestly, it's what I love about it so much. We're trying to keep our industry from becoming that, right? So, if we can do anything to help that, and it's a benefit to the business and we make a little money on the side, great.
So is that like I don't guess it's a franchise model. Y'all aren't doing it under one brand. Y'all are kind of just like silent partners.
Yeah. Because I don't want to tell anybody how to run their business. I don't want anybody telling me how to run my business, right? But I do want to help them avoid all the stupid shit that I did when we were building Signature, right? Because we may, I don't know that I can tell you how to build a veterinary practice, but I know I can tell you how not to build a veterinary practice. Don't do the stupid things I did. If you can avoid those and really have access to capital, I think it's beneficial for everybody.
So y'all are also providing mentorship or guidance, I guess, a little bit with the capital.
Yeah. I mean, we just started out, so we're not very far down the road. And we haven't actually invested in any practices. There's some that we talked to. Actually, the thing that happened before that is that we started a buying group. When we started, it was with a bunch of very large practices. We all got together. How can we do a business that avoids corporate ownership? And the decision that came out of that room was, let's do something easy first. Let's do a buying group. So let's pool our smartness and start a buying group, negotiate with the drug companies for better pricing, and see where it goes. So there were 12 practices that started that. It's called Epic Equine Purchasing and Inventory Company, and that is run by one of our 4 brand technicians. So that business understands what we're trying to get accomplished. Of those 12 practices, there's 3 of them left. And those are the 3 Brazos Valley Equine Hospital practices that originally started it. All the rest of them have been actually either didn't want to participate and didn't want to change how they purchased their drugs, even though it saved them money, or they got sold to corporate entities, which is the exact point we're trying to avoid, right? But what came of that was those first 12 practices that started it It ended up being 220 plus veterinary practices now that participate in that. We control somewhere around 10% of the purchases in the equine veterinary space. And they're all average size of the practice is 1.7 doctors, right? So we're helping the people that we intended to help, right? Because those guys, we can save 10 to 20% on their cost of goods from day one if they come on board with Epic. It's actually, it is such a rewarding experience. And I actually don't have anything to do with it anymore because I term limited off the board a couple of years ago, so I can't go back on the board until next year. It's pretty hard to watch from the sidelines because they don't have any input.
Yeah.
But it has been insanely successful. And the Horizon Group came out of those practices, that the second wave of bigger practices that came into that said, let's do something better. And how can we pool our resources? And that's how we ended up there.
Yeah, that sounds super awesome.
Yeah.
And we, a few episodes ago, I had a saddle maker on, and basically he had the same idea of, like, he said most saddle guys will just go buy a little bit of leather, the materials they need to buy one or two. And he's like, well, if I go buy a whole bunch of it, I get it for a lot cheaper, and then I can, control my price even more and be more competitive on my price, and then also keep my margins good and all that. And so then he's built a whole nother business helping other saddle makers do the same, and it just got me thinking, like, why, whether you're in the ranching business or, whatever it is, like, if you get a group like that, like-minded people that need the same things and go together and buy a whole bunch, you'll be able to get it cheaper, like you said, and make better margins on it.
It is.
Are you tired of paying record high bull prices only to watch your new purchases damage themselves or your things, or even worse, stand in the shade and melt? 100th Meridian Ranching's bull leasing program offers a cost-efficient way to get your cows bred and creates more flexibility for you 9 months out of the year. With over 400 Black Angus, Red Angus, and Charolais bulls in inventory that are in range-ready, working condition, this could be the solution for you. Check out 100th Meridian Ranching on Facebook or Instagram, 100thmeridianranching.com, or give Lane a call to discuss more, 325-226-5240.
Pretty interesting how it works, because you have to find the right people to put in place, because there are people that it took a while to get traction for Epic. Because people don't trust you. Like, what's your, like, honestly, the worst part was with the drug companies, right? Because they would come to you and say, okay, look, that sounds great. Let's make a deal. So what's in it for you? It's like, there's nothing in it for us. Well, I don't understand. Like, I know you don't understand, but there really isn't anything in it for Epic proper. Like, we don't want anything. We want a better price. Well, don't you want some kickback, or do you want some value added propositions? Like, no, I don't want anything. I want a better price for everybody in Epic. And that's all I want from you. And it blows their mind that they can't, like, there's nothing else. There's no ulterior motive, right? We're just giving back to the community, right? And then the other practices are like, okay, what's in it for you? There's nothing in it for me, right? I've been in groups that had things like that, and they're always skimming off the top. There's 1-2% of whatever the savings are that go back to this group to put it in their pocket. And it's not something we're interested in. The board is unpaid. The only person that gets paid is the executive director. So it is.
Does it cost anything to join that? Is it membership?
Yeah, there is some, because if it's free, then you don't appreciate it.
Right.
But it's minimal, $500-$600 a year to save $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah.
Seems pretty ridiculous not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's people in the industries that want to give back to the industries. Like, I've never figured out why cattle producers don't make a co-op and make a packing plant. Right? Why do you use JBS? Well, they screw you out of they price you out of the market, and they screw you. Well, stop using them. Go build a packing plant. Go buy a packing plant. I don't understand why it is. I do understand it, because it's human nature not to trust anyone else, right? And there's always egos that get involved in that, and it's hard to get traction to do good things in the space. But it would be so easy just to build a co-op and slaughter your own cattle and feed your own cows, right? And keep all the money instead of giving it back to JBS or the government or whoever gets it.
Yeah, you'd think. I always thought that too. Like, why, especially like the big guys wouldn't pull together and
everybody's scared. Well, then those big companies will put us out of business, and I don't know. There's lots of things that go into it, I guess. But
I've always been set up to be, and this is probably from my father, right? And we've never asked for a seat at the table. We just went and built our own table, right? And I think that's just a better way for me to go about my life and my business.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like that's part of the reason this started, and just and a lot of the things I do is because I couldn't get somebody else to do it for me. So I'm just like, I'll go figure it out. I guess I'll build it.
Honestly, a lot of the stuff we've started inside our business and what we've done is that here's an issue, right? What's the solution for the issue? We look around, there's no solution. Well, I just make a solution. Well, that turns into a business because everybody else has the same problem we got. So yeah. So then and we've never set out on anything to make a lot of money. And I figured if we can make a little bit of money on a lot of things, it's as good as making a lot of money on one thing. And then there's a benefit to everybody because you're solving a problem.
Yeah. And just like you said, if you're the main customer and you're saving money and you're already the business you already have established, then it just makes it even better.
Yeah.
And then what'd you say the other deal y'all started was?
Horizon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That sounds like a really awesome deal. For guys, wanting to get started or go out on their own or something like that. Y'all are going to actually help them.
Yeah. We just got to get some money, right? Because, we don't want private equity. We don't want any like corporate involvement. So it's all just homegrown money. It's going to take us a year probably to get enough money to start making deals. And then once you make a couple deals, you make a little money on them. And then it kind of has a snowball effect and you can really start leveraging stuff. But right now,
people see it work, then it'll be a little easier.
Right now we're broke.
Yeah. Yeah. But that sounds like a great idea. Like you said, I mean, you're going to help somebody getting started to basically avoid all the pitfalls and the struggles. And I would think capital is gonna be a huge one. So if y'all can help provide that, even right now, if you could just provide the mentorship for a little bit of equity, I mean, I think would be huge.
Yeah, we do that now. Like there's 2 or 3 different practitioners that call me with problems. Like, what did you do about this? What did you do about that? I was like, well, I can tell you what not to do about that. Here's what I think I would do right now. I said, but here's definitely what not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of success, been around a lot of successful people. What do you think, if you could say the most important trait for success in general is, what do you think a trait or skill for somebody to work on is?
I think, so we'll have to define success, right? And
it doesn't have to be financial.
I'll tell you a story first. I'll tell you why I'm here, where I got to be, right? So before I moved to Stephenville, so this is going to be 2004 probably. Eddie Flynn, who's a cut horse trainer, was working for Alice Walton's, a really good friend of mine. He's actually my first client. He's the first person who would walk into the practice in the clinic and say, I want Charlie to look at my horse, make an appointment for me, right? So we've been friends for 28 years. And he lives right down the road from me now. It's one of the reasons that we moved up here. He calls me on a Sunday. He's like, hey, mate, my best 3-year-old's crippled. And it's 2 months for maturity. It's like, all right, no problem. So I'll make a phone call, get a technician, hop in my truck, and we're driving to Mineral Wells from Navasota. It's about 3.5 hours. About halfway there, I'm like, what am I doing? It is Sunday. It's my day off. I'm not on call. Why am I driving to Mineral Wells to look at one horse, right? One horse, right? And it's not for the fame. It's not for the glory. It's not for the money. And that I figured out at that point that my ethos in life and what I do, and this is pretty much what my dad told me too. I just didn't know he was saying a different way, right? Is I am invested in the success of the people around me, whether it's my employees or if it's my clients, my vendors, right? Everybody. I want everybody that I'm involved with every day to be as successful as they possibly can be. And if I can help on that in any way, then I'm in, right? And I'd worked on Eddie's horses since they were 2-year-olds for almost 2 years, right? And for me, it was important that he had as good a shot to win the futurity as he could. And that actual horse ended up winning a crap ton of money. She won $400,000. won the Derby, won the Super Stakes. And when I figured that out, then I could kind of dial down into the business what I wanted it to be. And if I could give advice to anyone, there's two things you have to understand to be successful in business. And the first thing is you're not a $100 bill. So not everybody's going to like you. And once you realize that, and when people don't like you and they talk shit about you, the more successful you are, the more shit they talk about you, you should appreciate the fact that they're talking about you. That means that they are appreciative of your success. And don't worry about what they're saying. Just go about, keep doing your thing, because the more you do your thing, the more people are going to hate on you, the more successful you are. People don't like it when I think Nick Saban said it. How do you say it? High achievers don't like mediocre people, and mediocre people don't like high achievers, right? So the mediocre people are going to talk shit about you. So if you want to be successful, ignore that and go about your business. And the other thing is, as I said before, show up. Just show up. Come to work every day, prepared to work, and do everything you can to help your people around you be successful. And if you do those two things, everything else takes care of itself. Like the money takes care of itself. If you do charge appropriately, you don't charge a lot, charge appropriately. Don't overcharge your clients, and just show up and do the best job you can. And the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yeah. We've brought that up several times.
Yeah.
Like right now is a perfect time to be successful because it's such a low bar. I mean, like you said,
so easy.
Just showing up. If you just show up and do a terrible job, at least you showed up.
Yeah, because no one else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter if you're in lawn care, construction. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber. Dude, if you can get somebody to show up, you can make a living. You can make a really good living. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah, it's crazy the opportunities that are available right now.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this recently, so I've started asking this question.
I would say one more thing real quick about how to be successful, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Probably one of the best things I did to help me be successful in business is that probably the year before I got in vet school, I quit working for my dad because he wouldn't give me more hours. I went to work at Foot Locker. I worked at Foot Locker for 4 months. The first month, it took a lot of work to be able to speak to people because I am painfully introverted. So I was super awkward up until probably I graduated from vet school. Probably I was super awkward, but this was a pivotal moment because the first month it was a disaster. Me working at Foot Locker and having to talk to people every day. The regional manager comes through that business. And he looks at the store manager and says, that guy right there, man, he ain't going to make it. You might as well just send him on down the road. And the store manager's like, no, he's a good guy. I think he's going to be all right. And then I was the salesman of the month for the next 3 months, right? But partly because I am pathologically competitive, right? And winning is really important to me. And numbers and money is how you keep score, right? It's not about actually making more money. It's about keeping score, right? So then I just learned how to talk to people. And it's the same thing. It's not that hard. You just walk up to them. How you doing today? Are you looking for anything in particular today? Oh, great. You need a pair of running shoes? Great. Let me show you some running shoes. Like these New Balances are really nice over here, right? And you just sell them a pair of shoes, right? They know what they want when they walk in the door. You just got to be nice to them and greet them. Yeah. And that's all it is. So everybody should work in retail for a little bit in their life, unless they're like Stro, and it doesn't matter, right? He comes by and
born with it. Yeah.
I forgot what the question was.
Yeah, no, I was definitely the same way as that. I'm introverted and don't like talking to people. Yeah. And then I got into sales, and you got to learn it. And this is, I don't think this is really, this is a one-on-one conversation, and it just happens to be broadcast out in the world. But this wasn't that hard for me to do. But definitely sales and just in general in the public and stuff. I'm not going to go approach people hardly. It's a chore. It's a chore for me.
It's exhausting too, by the way. Like at the end of every day when I go home, I'm freaking exhausted.
Yeah, and that's funny because you're talking to people all day.
Yep, it is. I'm not in the veterinary medicine business. I'm in the relationship service business, and everybody else is too.
Yeah, I said that about before I got into sales and stuff. Day working was my occupation, and that's what I said. I was like, it's not really a cowboy job as much as it is customer service job, because you got to go make that customer happy, that rancher happy. And it's, I mean, you have to have some skills to do that, but I've seen a lot of people that aren't, you know, maybe not as handy, but they make the guy really likes them or whatever, you know, they're just likable people. They talk to them or whatever it is, and they get hired back. So I had what does wealth mean to you? Because we always think of it as money, and it's, I looked it up the other day, and so I was going to start asking everybody that question.
I would say that wealth would be, for me, is that I can take care of my family, right? And I can put my kids through college, that my kids don't have to struggle like my wife and I did at the very beginning. And I think there's a benefit to the struggle, honestly. So a little bit, so you can't let them have too much, but I would like for them to be 40 years old, have a family, and be secure, right? And I don't need a private jet, right? You know, but I do want them to be able to survive a catastrophe in their life if it happens, and be fine about it. And then the only other thing I want to be able to do is, so when we moved from Wellborn, Texas, Navasota to Stephenville, we sold our place down there and bought a place up here, and we went to go close on selling our place. And they know that you have to sell it, right? They know this contingent on this other place. So they go, oh yeah, we forgot to put this brokerage fee in there. They tack on $1,500, right? And oh yeah, I forgot the title didn't get done very well last time. And so we had to do some extra title work. So there's another $1,500 here. And I want to be in a financial position where I can tell those guys to go fuck themselves. That's all I want to say is like, fuck you, I quit. And walk out of the room. I'm not quite there yet, but we're getting close.
I have that few money.
That's what I want.
Are you a reader?
A little bit. I don't read as much as I used to. I used to read a lot of business books, a lot of leadership books, and I read blogs more now, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. What are some
of the best books you've read, and maybe some of the best podcasts?
I think anything by Seth Godin is pretty good if you want to be a leader and understand people. I like Simon Sinek a lot. His book, Leaders Eat Last, had a big impact on me. And then there's another book, I can't remember who wrote it, First Break All the Rules, which is pretty interesting. And it's a different take on actual sales, honestly, that you need to do that sales and be salesmen. And just because you're a great salesman doesn't mean you're a great manager of people. You need to put people that have skills in positions to maximize their skills. And you may have a salesman that makes more than their manager does because they're just really good at it. And everybody's got to be okay with that. Those kind of things I think were important to me. Seth Godin's blog got a little tiresome with all the liberal propaganda that was in it, so I quit reading that one. I listened to the All In podcast, which is business and a little bit of politics. I listened to Charlie Crawford's. I listened to yours. Really, I just kind of there's about 10 that I have. Huberman Lab, Freakonomics, that if something looks like it's going to be good, I'll listen to it. Otherwise, I'll skip it and go on to something better.
A lot of the seems like the mainstream ones, they jump around so much with different topics. I got to screen them a little bit.
I tried to listen to Andy Frisella for a while. It's just, man, it's a lot. A little too much conspiracy and a little too much snarky politics. Sean Ryan, I couldn't do him. Every now and then, Joe Rogan's is really good. Like, I think that long form, you can really drill down onto people and see who they really are, is pretty cool. Sometimes he has some just random ass shit on there and it's really bad.
I skip a lot of the mushrooms and aliens, which most of pretty much every conversation goes back to that. But
eventually.
But even some of the ones with just his buddies with the comics, I mean, they have a lot of good insight.
They do. Yeah. He's an interesting guy because he's a knucklehead, but he has, like, I don't know how, I really don't know how he got to where he's at, because he is a straight up just like knucklehead, but asks really good questions and very insightful. He must be way smarter than he puts on.
Very, very curious and and high level. And I think probably part of it is like he gets around and sit around and think. And like you said, you took that class in college, like learning how to think and then making the time to sit around and think is a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes staying at home for me and it seems like an unproductive day, but if I could sit around and like actually just try to create some ideas or something, just brainstorm.
So where do you get the ideas for your short form podcast when it's just you? Because those are pretty good too.
Yeah. I'm just always looking for something. When I see something, a topic or something, I'll write it down and go back and revisit it. And really on those, it's just me ranting. I don't script them out or anything.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty good. Interesting. I keep a list of quotes and a note in my phone. And if I'm reading a blog or something real like it, I'll copy and paste it on there. I probably got 300 on there now.
I do the same thing. And it's, that's like for me. I know Charlie said this on Clinton's podcast, kind of like how he struggled of like sitting inside and actually whatever he was working on. Like you got to do that because we're kind of in the deal where like you want to go outside and be actually doing something with your hands and your body to feel productive. But sitting inside sometimes, like now for sure, I'm scrolling on my phone and most people see it as wasting time, but like I'm coming up with ideas for content. I'm looking for new guests. I'm looking for potential clients. I mean, I'm scrolling on social media, but it actually pays sometimes.
Yeah, it works, don't it?
Yeah,
because it's so interesting and an amazing period that we live in that information is so ubiquitous and easily accessible and everywhere. Right? You can be on Twitter or X and run into something like every now and then you see something like, wow, like I never thought about that. And I'll copy and put it in my quote list and then go back later and read through my quote list and like, man, what an insight into life that I never really thought about. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And
just some totally random person.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear Ben Hale's story on episode 69, you need to check it out. He's been earning trust in the cattle industry one handshake at a time since 1995 at Western Livestock. Western Livestock is proud to be family-owned and operated now with 5 locations, Oklahoma City, Woodward, Comanche, and Waurika, Oklahoma, and also Knoxville, Iowa. They're proud to do business the Western way with honesty, integrity, and a handshake that still means something. You can join them ringside or stream their sales from wherever you are. Western Livestock, where a handshake is their word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact Ben Hale at 940-631-BEEF. That's 940-631-2333. Check them out on Facebook or westernlivestock.com. Western Livestock is now accepting consignments for their September 20th horse sale in Woodward, Oklahoma. Visit westernlivestock.com to learn more.
And with Jeff, we were talking about that, him being a lawyer, and I was asking him about resources and stuff, and we're just talking about how easy it is to access information. And I said a lot of people have sat over there in that seat and said they got started training horses or whatever it was, whatever field it was that they were in, from YouTube. Just getting on YouTube and watching videos and going down the rabbit hole.
Man, AI is going to take you to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you use it at all? AI right now?
Yeah, I have Grok and Chat both.
I haven't played around with the difference with using the different ones. I use ChatGPT pretty much a daily.
Usually, if I find something and it looks weird, I'll do it on the other one to see if it's true. Make sure they come up with the same answer.
Yeah, cross check them a little bit.
But it's pretty cool. Like you can query it and then drill down on it, and the ability to find information on the internet is crazy, crazy.
And I think, that's the whole thing is. Like a lot of people just want to use it for a search, but you can have a conversation like, like you said, drill down deeper. I want a better answer than that, and it'll keep going.
Yep.
Do you use it at all in vet practice at all?
Every now and then, like if there's like a weird case I can't quite figure out, I'll put the parameters, blood findings, and physical exam stuff into it, and just see what it spits out. And it's pretty cool. Sometimes it comes up with some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a post on Facebook I saw going around and said, you better start eating healthy because your doctor's using ChatGPT to graduate. And, but that got me thinking like, well, yeah, you want them like that helps you. It's not necessarily going to replace you. I think it probably will replace some doctors because you don't have to go to the doctor.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need it. Like it's just a simple question that you need to answer. Then you don't know the answer to. You can put it in there, and the only thing is, I don't know if it's right or not.
Yeah,
I don't know how you confirm that it's right, but somebody does.
Yeah. I mean, it says all the sources that it gets it from, but I don't go through there and research it. I mean, that's why I asked that asked the question to the AI. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think everybody needs to learn how to use it.
It'll be significant changes in our industry for sure, in mine, because it'll allow you to just put stuff in your phone and spit out an answer, and you'll show up. Hey, I want you to inject more stifles because it did this, this, and this, right? Sometimes that happens anyway because they call the pet psychic, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yes, the remote viewers.
Yeah,
I don't know. That they made me a believer out of that deal.
All I can tell you is that there are times that they know things. There's no other way it's amazing the stuff that they know and they can say about that horse. And there's a couple of them that have been more right than wrong. And it's pretty crazy, honestly. I really don't like to think about it very much.
Yeah.
Like it freaks me out a little bit. I don't like to think about it.
Yeah. Rogan had on one of those remote viewer. Did you listen to that one?
I haven't.
It was a little while back, but he ran that department for like the CIA or something. And they use remote viewers to like find Russian missile bases and I mean, lots of stuff. And
did they find them? Like that's just, man, yeah. I don't think about ghosts. I don't think about aliens. Like I don't like to think about that kind of stuff. I like to just pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I want to make, if the end of the world comes, right, the super volcano explodes over Yellowstone Park, I want to be in Yellowstone Park. Like I want to be
the
dead.
First one.
Yeah, I don't want to live in the apocalypse. I want to be dead before the apocalypse starts.
Yeah.
I want to be done.
That's what probably like Rogan, I heard that, they talk about that. Like when something does happen, like you're not going to want to be the one that survives because you're going to start completely over.
Yes.
And it's going to be very hard for a long time.
Yeah. I'm not surviving the zombie apocalypse. I'm going to sacrifice myself.
Well, how can people reach you? How can they help you out, the listeners, and if they need a horse checked out, if they're a vet that wants some help or whatever?
Oh, the website's sehtx.com, and then we're on almost all the social media platforms, except Snapchat.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed. Appreciate you coming.
That's good.
On. Sharing.
You asked about where I like to eat.
Oh yeah, what is your favorite restaurant?
I thought that was the deal.
Yeah, no,
Are we talking about?
We got off on way far.
Yeah. Are we talking about in international, only in country or in local?
Well, if you have an international answer, that would be good. I haven't got one of those yet.
There's a lamb restaurant in Aracatuba, Brazil, that I could not remember the name of, but it's amazing. It is amazing. So we had a practice in Brazil for about 5 years.
I think I remember that.
So I go down there 3 or 4 times a year, and that the only thing that I had to do when I was there was go to that restaurant. It was amazing. And then there's a restaurant in Healdsburg, California called Cyrus. That is probably the most unique dining experience you'll ever have. Like I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
Right. So I really like to eat. I like to cook. But so those things are important to me. And I went to, we go to Zeno's in Weatherford if you want a local one. It's an Italian place. It's amazing.
On the square?
Yeah.
I think we've been there before.
Yeah, it's good. Good people. Got connections to the horse business, so that's good.
What makes the one in California? What's the story on
it? There's actually a Harvard Business Review article about them, and the way they set it up and intentionality of how they set it up to be mimic a experience going to your friend's house for dinner, right? You go through 3 rooms. You start in the lounge, like in the front porch of the living room, have a drink, have a cocktail, sit around, talk. Then you go to the kitchen. You get to watch them cook. You can talk to the chefs, walk around the kitchen, make yourself at home. And then you go in the dining room and finish the dining room experience. And the food's really good. It's like a couple Michelin stars, I think, maybe 3 Michelin stars. But the whole experience and the interaction and the hospitality of the staff is just, it's amazing. It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean that a lot of times that's makes it or breaks it. The wait staff, who you're there with. I mean, like you said, the whole experience.
Yeah, like the way they set it up, it's a tasting menu only, 3 sittings a night. So it's a charge appropriate. It's not like it's expensive, but I've been to more expensive restaurants that weren't as good. And then they pay their people really good. So the people are always there so that they have some consistency in their staff, which is pretty unique in the restaurant business.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll,
cool.
we'll have to go check those out.
All right. How about yours?
Oh, man. We come up here a lot to, we go to Del Frisco's. Riata's always good. Any of those big steakhouses like that. We haven't tried them all, so I'm still trying to experiment. That's why I asked.
Try Perry's and Grapevine. I went there the
Great.
first time the other night. It was good.
I think somebody might have said that
Yeah.
before. Yeah, going to eat a good steak somewhere. And like you said, actually we stopped one time on the way back from the Windy Ride the other day in Weatherford at Longhorn. Hardly anybody was in there. We ended up seeing 3 people that we knew though, even though nobody was in there. And it was, I'm telling you, the food was really good. I mean, it's just the same deal, whole experience. Everybody was nice. We saw our friends in there. So I don't know if that was a one-time deal with Longhorn, but
It would be impressive if it's more than once.
yeah, but it was good. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. It was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
All right, we'll see y'all next time.